All right, like before, we'll go in alphabetical order with the introductions, then switch with each question. Ryan, we'll start with you. 1 minute.
Thank you. It's great to be here and great to see all these faces in this room, so many of whom I know. I'm sitting here before you tonight asking you to allow me to lead. And I know that's a big ask, but I bring a lot to the table. Experience, 4 years in the Park City Council leading on our most consequential achievements. 5 years in the Snyder Basin Planning Commission, leading the largest public hearings in Summit County's history. I'm endorsed by every recent mayor, every former mayor of Park City back to 1990, a time period that goes back to when traffic used to stop on 224 for the cows. I have a small business. I'm an employer. I understand the challenges of bringing together a great team and a small business locally and the challenges the workforce faces. And I'm a proud girl dad. I have 2 daughters at elementary age in public schools. So I'm deeply rooted in our community, and I'm deeply invested in our future, and I look forward to talking to you tonight about my vision to move Park City forward with positive leadership.
Jack?
Thank you. Thank you, KPCW and Park Record. I'd like to thank all of you for coming tonight. I'd like to start by telling you that I love Park City. Believe it or not, from what you read in the paper, that's actually true. I love this town. I'm running because I've identified a few issues, and I think I see an opportunity to do better. The National Community Survey has made it clear that we all love the nature, recreation, outdoors, and safety that we have in Park City. On the other hand, residents have actually given the feel that they're not so sure that the town is on a positive direction. I want to raise the voice of residents who are too often disregarded. Good leadership doesn't mean that everyone needs to pretend that everything is good. Good leadership needs to reflect the needs of residents while balancing the commercial interests of visitors and other stakeholders. Suggesting that improvement in the balance of the town is not hateful. It's optimistic. I'm Jack Rubin. Thank you.
All right, thank you, candidates. Now is the lightning round. So each question, it'll be very short. We're looking for a 15-second answer, maybe a 1-sentence answer, and we will alternate who starts. So since Ryan, you went first, we are going to start with Jack.
The first question, do you support the plans in motion to build a new senior center on the Mooney parking lot across from the library?
Absolutely, and I want to see the funding put in place so it can go vertical.
Yes, I do. But key questions to be answered. You picked where. When you slated to pick how much and how big those plans are to complete, we got to push them forward.
Ryan, Park City is studying 2 future options for State Route 248, bus rapid transit and light rail. Which do you prefer?
I think it was important to pursue these alternatives actually required by the federal government to go get this funding that the Olympics allow us to get in our partnership with VDOT, but ultimately, I believe bus rapid transit will be the solution.
Yes, I believe in the bus rapid transit, and this was noted earlier, the flex lanes. There's a couple of things that can be done and probably be done pretty quickly.
This one to Jack. When was the last time you took the bus?
I took the bus fairly recently, the tan bus going through Park Meadows. It works pretty well when you can flag it down.
Same in 2010. I was excited to bring that to Park Meadows. You're welcome, Jack. But it's exciting to have expanded transit in my time on council.
Starting with Ryan, should the city financially support local families' childcare?
Yes, our program is a model for the country. We've gone to Washington to present it to federal leaders in both political parties. Other towns are looking to us. We should all be proud of it.
I agree. Child care is probably more expensive than college these days. If we expect families to be in town, we've got to provide some help.
Do you support the Clark Ranch housing project as proposed? Jack?
Absolutely not.
I do support the Clark Ranch Housing Project, that 10-year vision, unanimous vision of successive mayors and council. We're at the last mile. This is where it gets tough. We have to work with the residents, provide the mitigations to that neighborhood, but it's important that we live up to our commitment to deliver housing for our workforce.
Would you like to leave Main Street as is, make traffic one-way, or add more pedestrian space, Ryan?
Well, I'm well on record that I want Main Street to be much more pedestrian friendly. The sidewalks are dangerous. In the winter, we see folks walking in the street, dodging cars. We have an opportunity to transform the experience of being on that street.
I'm not a fan of one-way. I do think there needs to be some sidewalk expansion. There's some other models that have been used elsewhere with automatic bollards and other solutions that are certainly worthy of pursuing.
And should the city continue pursuing public-private partnerships to create affordable housing?
I'm a fan of affordable housing. There are opportunities where we can make affordable housing. I'm a big fan of that. But I think it's got to be done judiciously and efficiently. If public-private partnerships are the way to go, the vehicle is not what matters to me. It's how we can be good stewards of our financial resources and provide the product.
Well, public-private partnerships are how affordable housing gets built. The city's been a developer in the past. We've delivered just under 100 units, and those deliveries have been a challenge. We've delivered a lot of for sale housing that you heard in the first round here has had some challenges. How we lead the push to this public-private partnership model because that's what delivers the housing that we need.
Ryan, what's the last book you read?
Well, it's funny. I want to say Abundance by Ezra Klein because it's the last important book that I read, and it's a great book. Everyone here should read it. But truly, as I was sitting back there with my wife, she said, it actually is Richard Scarry's funniest storybook ever. Guilty.
Believe by Ross Buford.
Next question is, should Park City build aerial transit, and if so, where?
I'm actually very intrigued with the idea of Bridgeton Flat to Snow Park. I'm not a fan of Snow Park to Main Street. In any of the 5 locations, I think that's been proven not to be feasible. But having a 10-minute ride from Bridgeton Flat to Snow Park, I'm fairly intrigued by that. It deserves more research.
Yeah, I've supported looking at that and pass votes to do so. I think we got to be, we have to have our antenna up about feasibility for these solutions of flying gondolas through over people's houses and quickly sort of understand is this feasible or not, and pursue solutions that are actionable and it can happen more quickly. But would we love a gondola network in town? Of course, that's a fantasy I think that we can all envision and sounds great, just need to make it real.
Parking availability in town. Too much, not enough, or just right? Ryan?
I think parking is about right. I'm not in favor of expanding parking. Certainly in Old Town, we really want to take pedestrian, transit, bikeability approach first. When we look at potentially redevelopment areas in new neighborhoods like the Bonanza Park neighborhood, I think that's where we could have an opportunity for a shared parking model that does sort of mirror Old Town. But in general, our residents' number one concern is traffic. And traffic is a function of how many parking spaces a car has to drive to, so you have to be very careful about increasing our parking supply.
I think parking's got to be part of an integrated solution. The standard model is that Old Town is grossly underparked. The real issue is before you do anything with China Bridge, we've got to come up with some alternatives because we just simply can't take it down and expect Main Street to survive. We've got to come up with an interim solution to make that work while we work on that opportunities that's been classified.
Okay, we're entering the next portion now. Moderators will now ask general questions, and the candidates, you will have 1 minute to answer. Rebuttals of up to 30 seconds are also permitted if needed. And Jack, we'll start with you.
In what?
Yeah, sorry. In 2023, the City Council unanimously approved a public-private partnership with Deer Valley as part of the resort's snow park redevelopment, including a $15 million match for a transportation facility along 248 and a 20% day skier parking reduction. Ryan, you were one of the council liaisons who privately negotiated with Deer Valley. Why was this the best deal for residents? We'll begin with Jack. How would you have approached those negotiations?
They're done effectively behind closed doors as appropriate at the beginning level of a real estate deal. But it became clear that Ryan and his partner in negotiating it also became the advocates for it and voted on it as well. To my mind, that needed more airing, more public exposure, more accountability before we move forward with the vote. It wound up being pushed back, and I think that was the voice of the people. The voice of the residents around Deer Valley 1,100 homes join forces to try to make it something that's more accommodating to them.
I'm incredibly proud of that deal and that negotiation, which was transparent. We did it, like all of our negotiations, we appointed council liaisons who did go negotiate with Deer Valley. People want the government to operate like a business. That's a great line in politics. And in business, deals between companies aren't made at the shareholder meeting. You have to get together, work out the details, and then bring agreements forth to the council and the mayor to vote, discuss, take public input in public. But let's be clear about the big picture. The Deer Valley parking lot deal was already approved. That density was already there. For a sliver of land in a road vacation of no value to the city, we received $15 million in investment in our transportation, a peak parking reduction, other neighborhood mitigations. We made a bad project a good project with no additional density in the base area and lots of community benefit. So that density already existed. What we did was turn to a win for Park City to manage our traffic and our transportation and reduce the number of cars in town.
What do the recent departures of city managers and other high-level staff say to you about the state of the municipality, starting with Ryan?
Yeah, so I've been around, and obviously I know these folks well. I can point to their statements. Our top two deputies wrote letters to the Park Record about their experience at City Hall. And I think it signals a cultural shift that we need to make in the next administration at City Hall, and I think we will. We need to have a positive culture that rewards risk-taking and innovation, lets our employees make mistakes, doesn't use our employees as political pawns to ask difficult questions, surprise questions. That can look really smart by asking a gotcha question of a staff member. Oh, Ryan really did his homework. But that's not how teams are built. It's not how we get the best work out of our people. And so as mayor, I'm going to lead the council to change our culture to focus on teaming with staff, supporting our staff so that we can get the best work out of these people. These are mission-driven people who don't work in government for money. I can tell you that. They want to be part of the mission. They don't want to tell you what the mission is, but they want you to tell them that you have a goal, that you have a vision, that you have a mission, and that you're part of the team trying to make something happen for the community. That's what drives them.
I think we've got a great opportunity going forward. We've got the appointment of the new city manager that Mayor Dan has been kind enough to delay until this election's over. The city manager is the leader of the team. I hope we'll get to qualifications at some point, but for me, is having a city manager who can elicit the best from the staff to create the culture, as Ryan alludes to here, where people want to do their best work and provide actionable, vetted alternatives for consideration by the council. I've been to plenty of council meetings, and there have been some things that have been presented, what I would call in non-actionable form. Those are great for discussion sessions, but we also have sessions where there's to be a vote, and what is presented hasn't been presented in an actionable format. I think that's a culture shift I'd like to try to lead as mayor.
Beginning with Jack, what would you have done if you were mayor during the Park City Mountain Ski Patrol strike?
Wow, that's easy. I think that was something that was foreseeable. Between City Hall and the chamber, there wasn't much intervention. As a matter of fact, I don't think there was any. I think having some sort of moral suasion to bring the two parties together, I would offer to do that in my office or any venue of their like, to try to solve a problem that gave Park City an incredible black eye that's going to resonate, and we're not going to be over it this year, perhaps the next. There will be ripples going forward. We have a lot at stake at that, and we should have been at the table.
So that ski patrol strike was terrible. We all had guests, and it was the holidays, and our community was embarrassed. The name of our town is on that resort, and it was sorry to see. But I actually had concerns about us issuing a statement towards the very end at the urging of members of our council. It's irresistible. What is a more sympathetic group in town than our ski patrollers? I mean, I've been rescued, admit it. We got in a hard way. But we also got to be really careful because we have really important relationships with the resorts. These are complex negotiations about which the city has no real information, no expertise. I don't think Ed, Bill, and I are really qualified to weigh in with a really strong statement taking a side in a complex labor dispute between an international union, ultimately, and a publicly traded company. And so we have to be very cautious about how we manage our relationships, which is not to say that we obviously don't stand for our ski patrols. We shouldn't be zealous in protecting the ski experience, but that doesn't mean we have to make public statements without context that sort of serve red meat to the community.
Starting with Ryan. The mayor only votes in special circumstances like breaking city council ties. How will you accomplish your goals given the limited power?
The mayor doesn't take a vote, and that's the most common question people ask is, well, why would you want to give up your vote? But the reality that I know, and Jack knows, is the mayor is the only person on council, mayor's a member of council, with an office in City Hall. The mayor influences the agenda, the mayor manages the city manager day to day, and this work stream, this flow of work that happens in between the few hours of a council meeting that you see is going right in front of that mayor's door, and the mayor has the ability to grab staff reports, to shape them into things that are more actionable. I agree with Jack on that. The question that ends of a staff report shouldn't be discussed. It should be A, B, C, how we're moving forward. So the mayor has tremendous influence behind the scenes. They're absolutely the most influential member of council without a vote. But it is exciting when the mayor votes. We had a special dance we did for Nan. I think she's voted 3 times. But it goes a lot deeper than simply voting.
The reason that, is that going? Okay. My reason for pursuing the mayor's seat as opposed to the city council is I think it plays to my experience and my strengths. I've led a number of organizations, both commercially and not-for-profit, where I've been able to bring diverse people together to form a common mission, find overlap, deal with each other with respect, and move forward. Finding where there's a thread of commonality to begin, building off of that, and doing things for the benefit of the town and its residents. That's what excites me.
Next, Park City School District enrollment has declined for several years, along with the amount of workers living in town. Right now, just 12% of the city's workforce lives within 84060. Are you concerned about the loss of the middle and working class, and what can the city do to change that?
Yeah, great question. As people say, we want to become a retirement village. That's not what we should be. We shouldn't be a gated community, economically gated community. So what does that mean? You asked a question in the first round where, what are we going to do with Larry H. Miller? We'll get to Richmond Flat, I presume, later, but that represents a great opportunity for us to expand housing, do something perhaps with transportation, and a number of other solutions that will lead to Park City being a more vibrant and complete community.
Right.
It's absolutely alarming. We've seen that number change over time. It impacts with 88% of our workers commuting into town. It impacts not just the traffic, obviously we see it every day, but to me, raising kids in town, it impacts the way this community feels. I want to live in a community where when I go to soccer games at Pinebrook Park, there are teachers on the sideline. And what's a more fun moment than to go to the resort and see a friend working at the resort or in a ski shop? That it feels like a complete community, that the ski culture that has eroded a little bit, it's not 1985, it's harder to move here in a van, but that ski culture that we don't want to lose, I don't want to lose it, and I don't want to raise my kids in a place that is so incomplete. So we got to do more on housing. That's why I led on childcare. We need to make this an attractive place to live. We know parents can live 3 miles down the road and have twice the house and a lot easier way to live, but it should be worth it. This is the best place to live in this community, and we need to make it worth it for parents and families and seniors to live and stay in our boundaries.
The elected mayor will be tasked with appointing a new city manager. What qualities are you looking for? Ryan and Jack.
I've been clear that what I'm looking for is a really strong organizational leader. Matt Dias, who's a good friend, one of the smartest guys I know, and was an incredibly talented manager. He was phenomenal at managing us, at managing the politicians and the stakeholders, and I was so jealous of him on the radio talking to Leslie. Why didn't I think of that? great communicator. What I really want in that next leader when we talk about this culture change is someone with a demonstrated record of organizational leadership and culture change and bringing a team together. Because we've got work to do in our organization to rebuild trust between elected officials and our staff.